Hello, everybody, and welcome to Choice, Change, and Action podcast. So, you're with me, your host, Simone Milasas. I am still in Peregian Beach, Australia at the moment, but by the time this podcast goes live, I will be in Europe. So, can you please all send some nice warm weather to Europe? Because the moment I looked and I was like, what? 1 degrees? Oh my goodness, how does it get any better than that? So, hopefully, it's warming up there. So, please enjoy this podcast with Carolyn Sinclair. She works with Access Consciousness. She's also a facilitator, but she is these things and she leads our customer service. And I watch her do this with such elegance, is probably the best way to say it. She's such a beautiful being and she has this calmness in her world. If you've never seen Ferdinand, you should watch that. Okay, Ferdinand, it's an animated, the animated movie with the bull, Ferdinand. But there's a character in there called the calming goat. And I would say Carolyn is like a calming goat. She has this calmness in her world. And I see that one of the places that she so has this calming energy in her world that exudes out to others is her ability to know that she can choose. And her ability to know that she can choose and she can change her choice at any moment. So you can too, and enjoy your choices. Basically, don't judge anything. So we talk about leadership, we talk about business and being with clients, customer service, etc., and how to maybe change the flip how you've been functioning into something greater today. No matter where you've been functioning, you can flip it and you can start to choose something greater today. So please enjoy this podcast with Carolyn Sinclair. Thank you for being here. Thank you for tuning into or watching the Choice, Change, and Action podcast. My name is Simone Milasas and I am your host. Your choice creates your future. Every choice you make, action you take, you create a change for you and the world. Please enjoy this podcast. Don't take it too seriously. Don't take me too seriously. Don't trust me. Trust you. You are the one that knows what will work for you. And have way too much fun enjoying your choices. So, Carolyn Sinclair, welcome to Choice, Change, and Action podcast. How are you today?
I'm awesome and I'm so grateful to be invited. Thank you, Simone.
You're so welcome. So, where are you at the moment? You're in Canada, right?
I live, smack dab in the middle of Canada, in Winnipeg.
So,
Prairie town.
you are a part of. You're one of. You're an amazing staff member of Access Consciousness, and I know of you. I mean, you're an Access Consciousness facilitator, but you're involved in many different areas. But one of the areas that you're involved in Access is customer service, right? And I mean, customer service is such an interesting topic for companies and for businesses because I think it's something that people don't look at initially. They sort of go, what have I got? The service, the product, or this. And all of a sudden, as you grow, you're like, oh, hang on a second. People are actually asking questions and they require more information. So you've been leading this for quite some time. And we don't just have English either. We have languages. Like we're a little complicated and complex. So what I wanted to address with you too is you have been a leader of this for a long time. And let me ask you, what is a leader to you?
Someone who's not afraid to step up. Someone who doesn't have to be right. Someone who's just willing to do and be and invite people to do the same. Like you don't, I don't have, I'm not a control freak, which is very interesting. I always thought I was, but I don't have to be in control. And the more you are in that space of not being in control and yet willing to step up and do things, the more you actually do have control. Does that make sense?
It does. But let's go into that aspect a little bit more for all of the listeners because I know what you mean. And we have got a process in Access Consciousness, and it goes a little like this. What would happen if you were out of control, out of definition, out of form, structure, significance, out of linearities, out of concentricities, and out of limitations with, and you can put everything after the with, but if we just say here, with business. and everything that is. Times a godzillion, destroy and uncreate it. Right and wrong, good and bad, pock and pot, all nine shorts, boys, provids, and beyonds. And you can find out about that clearing statement at theclearingstatement.com, where myself and Dr. Dane here talk about it. And it's what we use in Access Consciousness. And it's just friggin' awesome. So first of all,
don't use.
What's that?
I said, don't use it.
Yeah, don't use it. Well, when I first heard about like the control thing, I remember when I was at a class, it was my second like big class I went to in Access, and I was in New Zealand, and I was at the back of the room, and Gary said something about, he called me a control freak, and I was horrified. I was like, oh, everybody in the room is going to know that I'm a control freak. And then I went, well, hang on a second. What part about that isn't really obvious anyway? And I was so grateful for that moment, because it got me to have a look at it and go, like, as you said, Caroline, it's like, where am I controlling, right? But controlling to a detriment that doesn't create anything greater. And as you said, if you actually allow yourself to let go of control, you end up having more control in a really different way, with way more ease and way more space. So that process, I advise you to listen to it again, and it's like you can even put it on a loop and write it down, and it'll be in the show notes. So if you haven't subscribed, get the show notes, because it'll be in there, and look at each part of where are you trying to define something. Where are you trying to create, you're making the limitations way more important than your choice, your infinite choice. There's like infinite possibilities available. So we go through life thinking that control is what's going to gain something, whereas in truth, it's the opposite. So what about empowering as well, Caroline? Because I see you empower people.
Well, I'm not sure that it's not something that I consciously focus on. And I really get that having the courage to be a leader, you know where you're going. You don't necessarily know how to get there, but you know you're going to get there. And when you be that energy and show people, then they are maybe willing to come along. Like that, asking questions and inviting, and we have fun. It's kind of going all over the place. When I first was asked to be in customer service, and then kind of stepped up to the leadership of it, I really didn't know what to do. And like, how do I control people? And how do I, all this? And somebody said to me, in customer service, we're not here to fix anything. We're here to assist people to create greater. Well, that's something that leadership can get behind, right? We're assisting people to create greater. We're not telling them what to do. We're not trying to control them. And the same with the agents too. When I interview people, I say the most important thing is to be in allowance. It's not all about us being right. So that's easy leadership.
Can you expand a little bit more for the listeners on what allowance is for you?
Absolutely. When you say or do something, or somebody says and does something to you, we usually react, like we align and agree with them, or resist and react to them, or somebody will say, "Oh, I can't afford that." Somebody maybe you. And what if you, instead of reacting to it, you just went, "Oh, interesting," which is kind of the tool of allowance, is interesting point of view. And so you don't react to it, you don't resist it, you don't buy into it, you just be in allowance. I like the image of the rock in the stream. In fact, that's my screensaver. Is a rock, and the stream, and everything in the stream is flowing by the rock, and you can either be in allowance and let it all just flow, and maybe there's sticks that hit it, or fish, or whatever. You can just be in allowance and let it all flow by, or you can you could resist it and kind of be buffeted around. And well, being an allowance is much more fun and much less work and less stress.
And I want to give some examples of this as well, because I mean, we've got some major projects occurring in Access right now. And one of them is called Access Me. Okay. And if you haven't checked it out, we will have the details in the subscription notes as well, or just go to access.me, Access Me. And it's so cool. It's this amazing, amazing product, right? So it's an app. And the idea is eventually any of the classes that you do, you'll be able to stream it on this app. You'll be able to have everything on there, you know, like Netflix is what we're looking at. And at the moment, we have an amazing deal on too. It's like $250 a month. And well, we're launching it. By the time this podcast goes live, we've launched, okay? So you can check it out. But it's $250 a month. And again, it's like Netflix, you have all of this past material, because we have like, you know, 28 years of content that is just sitting there. That is brilliant. Just because it's old doesn't mean it's not brilliant. And it's so cool to go through all of this and have a look at what we've got available, right? But this
with
is
a million
very
hours.
big project.
Yeah,
Yes, with a million hours, exactly. 1 million. She's correct. 1 million hours, right? So, but to go through all of this and have a look at all the different departments as such, right? And I've been in so many meetings in the past 4 days because it's crunch time, okay? And I see, and this is a great tool to use in business, is this allowance tool, because I can see there's some people like, I don't have this information, I didn't know this, da 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 da, and I'm like, okay, we're working on the same thing. Let's all get on the same page. We don't have to align and agree with each other, but what questions can we be with each other that allows a greater possibility to show up? And that's the way this works, because if you have 2 or more people that align and agree with something, that's when you create a reality. And as an example in business, if someone went, oh, this can't be done, and somebody else went, oh, yeah, you're right, this can't be done, then you've literally just created that limitation. And if you look at the process that we went through, I'll say it again, what would happen if you're out of control, out of definition, out of form, structure, significance, out of linearities, out of concentricities, and out of limitations with your projects? And everything that that is times a gazillion, right and wrong, good and bad, POC and POD, all nine, shorts, boys, perverts, and beyonds. And so if 2 people go, this can't be done, you're just creating this solidity. You're creating this reality of something cannot be done, rather than, well, what is possible here? But being in allowance of somebody's point of view and not negating it, like nobody is wrong, nobody is right. If you are not functioning from wrongness and rightness, there is a freedom there that gives you so much space, and that space to choose something completely different, or to, as I like to say, it's like hear, like listen to the whispers. Because people go do this thing, and I've done this, like where I'm like, quick, let's do this, and try and force something into action. And over the years, I've learned to relax with that and then listen to everybody, listen to the information, and make choices from that. And then follow the energy as well of like, okay, what is going to create something greater? Like, I love the way you describe customer service. There's nothing to fix. It's about creating, you know, greater possibilities. So
yeah,
everywhere that you're aligning and agreeing.
Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, you go.
No, I was just going to say that every day, you know, I just ask what, I even wrote it down so I wouldn't forget. So what does consciousness require of me? You know, in my life, in customer service, in, you know, everything I do. And those whispers come up.
Yeah. Do you have any other great questions that you ask, Caroline, or that you give to people to ask?
Well, that control and limitation, you know, that's on a loop a lot. And a lot about right and wrong. One of the facilitators, Anne Maxwell, has created loops about being, you know, questions about being right and wrong, and I have looped those many, many times. But I think a question that still boggles me is, what if nothing you ever did was wrong?
Yeah.
What? And then what if nothing you ever did was right? Yeah. What if it was just choice? And that, like, we're not taught that. to choose. That you get to choose every 10 seconds. You get to choose. So, I love this little apartment I have. It's in a historic building in a historic area, and I might choose to move tomorrow. And I won't make myself wrong because it'll be like the fifth move in 2 years. So that allowance is for you also.
That's beautiful.
And,
I love that.
talking about leadership, lead yourself first. If you are in allowance for yourself and your choices and how you be, that's such a huge invitation for others to do the same or be the same.
Yeah.
And when we
one of
do
the tools.
we meet every. Sorry, go ahead. You go ahead. I've been.
And then you go. I think there's a delay, so you keep going.
So we meet. We have what's hot in customer service meetings every week, Zoom meetings, 2 to cover the globe. But so there's generally 25 to 30 on, and we have fun. You see those stills of a Zoom meeting, and everybody's smiling, even though we're talking about different complaints or something like that. We get to choose. My father used to say to me, "Oh dear, it's really good that you've got a job that you like." And I'm like, I choose to enjoy it. This isn't about access. He had passed away, but I choose to enjoy it. And so you get to choose.
Yeah, I love that. And I love that what you said, lead yourself first, because a question I would also add to that is, and just play with this, like enjoy it. As Caroline said, it's not about going to the wrongness of you or being right. But as you choose, also ask, who do you think of before you choose? And just take a moment. It's like, every day, who do you think of before you choose? I'm going to cheat and give you what it should be is you. And so many people go, oh, I think of my kids, I think of my partner, I think of this. And it's like, it's when you choose for you, it doesn't exclude everybody else. And I get so many people misidentify that. And they go, if I'm choosing for me, that's being selfish. No, if you're choosing for you, that is one of the greatest gifts that you can not only give to you and your body, but also to the world. Because as you choose for you, you show others that they can choose for them as well. And it is, if you have these people in your life, you care about them, you're grateful for them, it ends up including them anyway. And it ends up including whatever it is that you're working on. So ask that question. It's like, who do I think of before I choose? And one of the things that you mentioned too is the fun factor. And I've been looking at this with every meeting I go on recently, and every like different project that we're working on or different choices that we're making. What if we enjoyed our choices? We just enjoyed them.
What a concept. Enjoying your choices. Imagine.
Yeah.
I like asking also, what would make this fun for me?
Yep.
If there might be a meeting that's going to be perhaps uncomfortable, okay, what would it take to make this fun for me?
Yeah.
How can I have fun today? I mean, if you think that's, my husband used to say that he was the fun guy and I was the serious one. Well, we gradually kind of almost flipped that.
I love that. And I'm going to say, everyone, if you're listening right now and you're like, God damn it, I'm the serious one, or I've been the fun one. What if you could be all of it and more, and nothing was relevant? Okay. Now, what do I mean by that? I'm not like dismissing everything. And it's like, no, but what are you making relevant that's not relevant? Like the more you make something relevant, that it has this meaning, is when you create that reality that has got more of a solidity to it than this freedom and this ease and this space of something else showing up. So everything that you are currently making relevant, we just destroy and uncreate your relationship with it. Could be a people, could be a business, anything, could be money, right and wrong, good and bad, pock and pot all nine, shorts, boys, provids and beyonds. And you can change the trajectory of your life at any moment. Like as Caroline said before, I love that you've lived in 5 different places in the last 2 years, and you can choose to change it tomorrow. You don't have to like stick to what you chose. I see a lot of people make a choice, and that choice gives them freedom. But then the second you go, oh, this is what I chose, I must stay with this, then it becomes a decision and it becomes a limitation because you do not allow anything to budge. Whereas you can choose something today, you can choose something in this 5 minutes, in this second, and then you can re-choose and use it with the smallest of things. Like, say you go to make a cup of coffee in the morning, and you make a coffee and you're like, yeah, I choose coffee. And then you say, take a sip of the coffee and you have one sip. The second tastes great. The second sip tastes horrible. And you're like, you don't have to finish the coffee because you made it. You're actually allowed to choose again. And it's so little, like these examples. But if you choose from that in every aspect of your life, then when it gets to these choices that we put into the bigger choice category, they also have a lot more ease with it. That you're like, you know what? I was looking at this. I'm actually going to change this. I'm going to flip this. I'm going to move house again because this was good for a month, but now it's not. You're not judging your choices. You just keep choosing.
And that again is such an invitation to other people. They might not realize that they can choose differently.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's really cool. I am so grateful for the tools of access consciousness. And I'm so grateful that I've learned about whatever leadership is, right? But just playing and in the access business, in the staff, like in the world, the staff, the behind the scenes, we don't use managers, supervise, we don't use those words. Somebody might lead a gaggle or a department or whatever you want to call it, as Simone does, conglomeration of idiots. I mean, why not have fun with that?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and and make it not so relevant and serious. And yet there are times to be serious.
Well, I think there's times to know when to, I call it make a captain's call, you know? It's like, because we don't have supervisors, we don't have all of that. And yet we have people who know when to make a captain's call. It's like, okay, comes down to this. Like, yep, this is what we're going to choose. Or let's choose something different. And I do like that.
Or
I do like
it doesn't work. Sorry, this doesn't work for me. This doesn't work for access.
Yeah, so that's a tool that we would use where it's like if and don't be afraid to use that, guys. It's like, hey, you know what? Because you don't have to do it from this doesn't work for me, hands on hips and like fighting. It's like, hey, you know what? That's great that you want to choose that, but it actually doesn't work for me. It doesn't work for this. Okay, we thank you, but we're going to choose this. I mean, a lot of people over the years I've seen with access to have really tried to implement things like creating our company based on algorithms or based on, what this reality would project. This company is not created from that. It's created energetically. Like if I look when I first came along, we were in 4 countries and we were in, Canada, America, Australia, and New Zealand. They're all English speaking countries. And if you sat down and went, okay, let's work out what we're going to do next. Where should we go to next? Right. And we had this plan, it would have been completely different, but we didn't. We just asked the question, okay, so where else does access consciousness desire to show up? And listen to those whispers. And we ended up being in Korea with all the expats, which is hilarious. It's like Korea, Italy, and then the UK. They were the 3 countries that opened up after that. And then it was so organic in the way it's all just, and the way it keeps opening up. So let's do this too. How many structures how many systems did you set up with your business that you then turn into structures because you decide it's right and that is the only way to do something, then rather destructure everything within your business every single day and allow something different to show up, that malleability and everything that is where you destroy and uncreate it. Right and wrong, good and bad, POC and POD online, shorts, boys, POVIDs and beyonds. And again, that's at theclearingstatement.com if you want to find out more about that and how that clearing statement works in access consciousness. So,
yeah, and the way access consciousness has grown and spread, and what are we in, like 180 countries now, something like that? I keep seeing new countries on that 100. Yeah. When I first started with customer service with Access, I was it. I wasn't the first one who was it, but I was it. I answered all the emails through Gmail. I answered the phone for the whole world. And is it 7 or 8 years later, there are like 45 people in the customer service department that answer emails. We've got another bunch of people that answer phone lines for various different countries around the world. And we have a live chat, and it's been so much ease. It's so easy, and it just organic. That's the word you use, and it's very organic and fun.
Yeah, and if you allow your business to breathe and have space, you will allow this to show up organically. So I'm also going to just add in here too and if you're watching us on YouTube, you'll see there's the mantra just below. Is the mantra of Access is all of life comes to me with ease and joy and glory. And that's so much what I know Caroline and I do function from, and we ask all the time. And you can ask that I ask it in the moments of like, most people ask it when they're in the moments of like, what am I going to do now? All of life comes to me with ease, joy, and glory. But I'm going to suggest too, ask for this and request this, that all of life comes to you with ease, joy, and glory when everything is just fabulous. Because what if a fabulous day was just the beginning of what your life could be? And what if a fabulous day in business was just the beginning of what your business could be also? So all of life comes to us with ease, joy, and glory. It's like, use it. It's brilliant.
Yeah. When I facilitate a class, people will say, well, how should I use it? And I say, well, we recommend 10 times in the morning and 10 times in the evening, but I think about 500 times a day is really good. And it works. You can play with it. Play with it the next time you go driving somewhere, if the traffic's heavy or, all that sort of thing. Use it while you're driving and just play with it.
Yeah. So I'm going to ask you if there's one more question or one more tool that you would like to leave the listeners with. And as I ask you that, I'm going to choose one here. Is I've got some building renovations going on with my house, right? And I met the other day with the builder, the interior designer, and this friend of mine, Mark Kerr. And I was like, okay, so when do we think we can start? And we were talking about all of this, and everyone does that, like, oh, I don't know, blah, blah, blah. And I went, okay, here we go. Do we all believe in miracles? And they all looked at me and smiled and went, yeah. And I went, okay, we're asking for miracles and magic. Let's begin middle of August, okay? Let's ask for that to show up. And I think, they all laughed, but that's the thing, because you say you believe in miracles, but where do you believe in miracles? What if miracles could show up in every area of your life? So whether we start in mid-August or not, I am in allowance of that, which is the tool that we spoke about earlier. But let's ask for it. If you don't ask for it, how does the universe know what to deliver you, So ask for the magic and the miracles to show up. So Caroline, if you could give one more tool question to everybody listening and about this like leadership energy of leading their life, their business, etc., what would that be?
It's a question that Gary Douglas, the founder of Access, gave me years ago was, okay, what energy, space, consciousness, choice, magic, miracles, mysteries, possibilities, power, and potency can my body and I be to have the joy of living 24/7 for all eternity?
Woo!
And everything that doesn't allow that, will you destroy and uncreate? Right, wrong, good, bad, POC, POD, all nine shorts, boys, poor, bads, and beyonds. And you get to choose. Choose, choice.
I love that. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Caroline, for joining me here today. So where can people find you? Your Instagram handle, website page?
My Instagram handle is Zesty Healthy Life. Facebook is my name, and Access site is accessconsciousness.com/Carolyn Sinclair.
Cool. And we will have all of those details in the show notes as well. So again, please don't forget to subscribe to the show notes, and please subscribe to the YouTube channel, Spotify, etc. You know what I would love? If you even left us a review of anything, because I would like the tools of Access Consciousness to get out there into the world so that people know that they have a different choice available. It's like, I love this energy that you be, Caroline, of it's like, it's so calming. It's like, we do have choice. So know that you have
do.
choice and know that you can choose, and you don't have to make this hard. It's like, it can be ease. It can have this joy and this fun in it. You can have a smile on your face every day, and it's up to you to choose that. So thank you so much, Caroline, for being here.
Oh, thank you. So
Am I
grateful.
seeing you in
I'm
Europe?
grateful for you. Not this time, but I'll see you in Europe in November.
Okay, sounds good. All right. Thank you so much, everybody. See you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Well, did you like this podcast? Love it? Hate it? Inspired by it? Can you do me a favor? Can you please write a comment, share it, like it? If you are listening on Spotify or Apple, could you tick a few stars for us? Leave a review. It's all such a contribution, and I am immensely grateful. Follow us on Instagram at Choice, Change and Action, and drop into our DMs and let us know what you would like next. When you subscribe to the show notes, you will receive a brief summary and any questions or tools we used and links to anything we discussed during the show. It might make your life easier. What if we asked for that? A life of ease, joy, and glory.